And Justin Trudeau's soft corner for proponents of Khalistan is well known. Recently, when he got an earful from Prime Minister Modi for giving a free run to anti-India forces, he defended it, calling it freedom of expression. And now, Justin Trudeau and his cabinet are on an overdrive to link India to the alleged assassination of wanted Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar without proof. It claims that it is actively involved in pursuing credible allegations. Listen in to Justin Trudeau and Melanie Joy.
Over the past number of weeks, Canadian security agencies have been actively pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen.
The allegations that a representative of a foreign government may have been involved in the killing of a Canadian citizen here in Canada on Canadian soil is not only troubling, but it is completely unacceptable. If proven true, this would be a grave violation of our sovereignty and of the most basic rule of how countries deal with each other. We've been clear, we will not tolerate any form of foreign interference.
But just look at who Justin Trudeau's backing. The chief of the Khalistan Tiger Force was declared a designated terrorist by India in 2020. Nijjar has been booked on charges of terror in several cases. He's been accused of hatching a conspiracy to kill Hindu and RSS leaders. And in the 2007 blast that killed 6 and injured 42 in Ludhiana, he's wanted. In 2022, the NIA declared a 10 lakh rupee reward on Nijjar after he was accused of conspiring to kill a Hindu priest in Punjab's Jalandhar. Soon after Trudeau's baseless charge, Canada expelled an Indian diplomat. Giving it back, the Modi Sarkar also expelled a senior Canadian diplomat, ordering them to leave the country within 5 days. In a terse message, India has rejected all charges, calling them absurd and baseless, and an attempt to shift focus from Khalistan terrorists operating on Canadian soil. Canada even briefed US President Joe Biden and the UK PM Rishi Sunak, as well as the Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese about the recent developments, but UK made it clear that it will continue trade talks with India despite allegations from Canada that the Indian government was involved in the murder, allegedly, of a Sikh separatist leader in Canada. Let's quickly take a look at those who have been operating in Canadian soil, and this is in fact the first name that we're getting to you. This is Sarabjit Singh Walia. He's an Indian who's India's waited for action. He's accused of sponsoring youth for his anti-farm law stirs. No action on 5 deportation requests. The next individual, of course, is Goldie Brar, a very well-known name. He's named in more than 15 cases. No action on 5 deportation requests. No action on the various other charges that have been made. Now, when it comes to Sandeep Singh Sidhu, he's wanted for the role in the killing of a Shaurya Chakra awardee. Can you believe it? That's the kind of charge against this individual. Lakhbir Singh Landa is wanted for, accused of 2 RPG attacks in Punjab. No action that has been made on all of these requests. Gurwant Singh is another individual allegedly involved in the terror-related cases as well. Again, this individual, no action taken. They're all roaming freely on Canadian soil. And this is what Trudeau thinks is perhaps, is being called even vote bank politics, perhaps, of the part of Trudeau. Gurpinder Singh is named in more than 8 criminal cases. The next person on this list is an individual who goes by the name of Parvikar Singh Dulai. He's involved allegedly in terror and targeted killing plans. This is the person that we're talking about next, is Charanjit Singh. He's named in more than 18 cases as well. Moving on to the next figure, it is that of Halwinder Singh Atwal. He's accused of sponsoring youth for the anti-farm law stir. Arshdeep Singh is the next individual over here, involved in more than 16 cases, and India is waiting for action on this individual as well. Ramandeep Singh is the next person named in 5 criminal cases. So these are individuals who have been operating on Canadian soil. And let's explain to you what is this obsession of Trudeau with actually backing up these individuals who've been giving out the vilest of threats, actually taking action, planning violent attacks here in India. What really are the political compulsions? And this seat map should make you understand what exactly is required. 157 seats is what the Liberal Party strength is in Canada. That's just a little short of the majority mark here. And who is the party that pushes him past the majority mark with those 24 seats is the NDP. NDP, where this individual by the name of Jagdeep Singh, who is the person who is in fact has all of these activists this, in fact, at some level or the other, several of the politicians also who are seen, liberal and, in fact, taking these positions that are pro-Khalistan, that has forced perhaps Trudeau's hand to take this decision. But the fact is that these are not individuals who are peacefully protesting. These are people who are threatening violence, who are actually practicing violence, India believes, in several cases, and we read out all those attacks that have taken place. Why is action not being taken on those people on Canadian soil? So that's the question that, in fact, many, in fact, are asking at this point of time. And let's take this across to Michael Ignatieff, who is the former leader of the Liberal Party. I'd like to thank you, sir, for joining us on Times Now. Mr. Ignatieff, I'd like to ask you, my first question, first and foremost, is how do you read the current situation between India and Canada in the light of the Canadian Prime Minister's claims that Indian government's agents have killed Hardeep Singh Nijjar on Canadian soil?
Well, this is a long story. There have been advocates of independence for Khalistan in the British Columbia region of our country for a long time. Your viewers will remember the Air India bombing in 1985, which was credibly linked to Khalistan terrorists based in Canada. So this has been going on for a long time. What is new is a Canadian Prime Minister saying that he has credible information from his security services that agents of the Indian government actively assassinated a citizen of Canada, a Khalistan supporter, in June near his Gurdwara. This is very serious, and I don't believe that a Canadian Prime Minister would get up in the House of Commons and make these accusations unless he had very firm evidence, because the friendship between Canada and India is too important for him to play games. He must have evidence, and he'll have to present that to the Canadian people. I understand that he's presented it to the Indians. He's presented it to your Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, and I know the security services have presented their evidence to the Indian security services. So my assumption is that there's something here, and if there is something here, and if an Indian security agent killed a Canadian citizen on Canadian territory, it's an absolutely unacceptable violation of our sovereignty. And if, Canadians were to do that in India, you'd be furious, and rightly so. So there are a lot of concerns here.
No, but Mr. Ignatieff, India has issued an official denial, but what explains Justin Trudeau making such a public statement when one would have assumed that as two mature democracies with a close relationship, even in the field of counterterrorism, this would have been addressed through government channels? Why has Trudeau escalated this?
I don't know. I don't know the answer. It's a good question because we are good friends. We have a huge number of people from the subcontinent in our country, and they're fantastic citizens. So we have deep connections at the most intimate family level between the two countries. And we have very strong, relations as governments. I don't know why. I don't know what's happened to make this go public. It appears to be the case that Canada has tried the quiet route, quiet diplomacy, going to the Indians on the quiet and making their concerns known. And they've been rebuffed. And that, I think, has pushed the Prime Minister towards making this public. He's also been under some pressure from the press in Canada, which got hold of the story and was going to release it. So he's under domestic pressure to go public. And I think he did not get the answers he needed when he was in India last week. And that's produced this blow up. I certainly hope it can be sorted out, because if you stand back from this, Canada has a particular opposition to any form of separatism, because we've had this problem in our own country. So we don't want to encourage separatism in any other country, not in India, not in Sri Lanka, not in these other places. And like India, we have exactly the same attitude towards terrorism. We oppose it. We're both democratic states. So I'm hoping this can be worked out, but it's a very, very serious matter.
That's very important, Mr. Ignatieff, because how does this go from here? You know, the larger question that we're going to ask is that are we at a point of no return as far as ties between the two countries are concerned?
Well, it depends what the facts are. I mean, if the Indians actually did send somebody to assassinate a Canadian citizen, the relationship will be in the deep freeze for a long time. If this is a misunderstanding, if this man was killed by somebody else and the Indians can show to the satisfaction of the Canadian government that, you know, they didn't have anything to do with it, I'm sure good relations will be quickly restored. And I hope what will happen is there'll be a lot of bilateral, quiet diplomacy going on because it's very important. We're important friends. We have, you know, millions of your people in our country, and we want them to continue to be here. We want them to continue to feel secure and safe and happy in our country. We want to have a strong relationship with India. It's a fantastic, important country, one of the most important countries in the world. So I'm hoping we can sort this out. But I'm afraid to say quiet diplomacy won't cut it if the facts are as the Prime Minister of Canada says they are. If they are as he says they are, then we have a real problem.
Well, that's exactly the problem, isn't it? Are the facts there? Are they not there? But Michael Ignatieff, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us and sharing with us your perspective on this diplomatic crisis that clearly has blown up between India and Canada. On that note, I'd like to thank all our viewers for joining us on the Newshour Agenda this evening.